Okay, we are going to start. Somebody needs to tell me whether you are able to hear me. Just type
Yes,
in the chat window. Just type in the chat window. Are you able to hear me? Yes, yes. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. So welcome to Math 230. This is the basic probability course, and we have lectures Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. That's why you guys are here. All the lectures will be recorded. I'll go through the administrative details in a minute. Let me just share my screen so that I can write all the administrative stuff related to the course. And I would also like to start discussing, some of the very basic material that is needed for the course. I'm going to share my screen here, and once again, I will need your input whether somebody is able to see the screen or not. Is the screen visible to everyone? Yeah, screen is visible. Great, great, excellent. So just to make sure that we have the entire screen visible. The entire screen is visible. So from here to here, everything is visible? Yes? Yes or no? Yes, that's great. Excellent. So I'll start with the very basic information, some administrative stuff for the course. We have two sites integrated with each other, where you will find the information about the course. And the sites that we are going to use for the course, one is the LMS. If you are registered for the course, the LMS course portfolio for you should already include this course. If you are on the wait list, perhaps it will get added in a couple of days or few days. Once you get enrolled, in your LMS portfolio, this course should automatically appear. And LMS resources section would be the one that we will use very frequently for uploading all the handouts, homeworks, quizzes, etc. All the information. Currently, the LMS site includes two documents. Currently, it has the course outline. The course outline, it's on LMS, and also the recommended book. Recommended book. Both of these are already available on LMS. You can check that out after the class is finished. Okay. We will also extensively use a site which is called Piazza. So Piazza, it's a communication site for teaching courses, and it's very useful for learning, especially in an online environment. So what you can do is that you can ask questions about any of the course material, assigned questions in the homework, questions about quizzes, grading, etc. Everything that you wanted to ask related to the course, you can ask on Piazza. And since all the students are available on Piazza, any of the student can also answer. So instructors and TAs, they will be answering the questions which you post on Piazza. On the Piazza, we have tabs. So for example, if you are asking a question about homework 3, make sure you select homework 3 so that it goes into the appropriate folder. If you are asking a question about quiz 4, then make sure that you select quiz 4. It will require you to select at least one folder. So select the appropriate folder before posting the question on Piazza. It is important to mention that Piazza site is for class related discussions, for class related discussions. Occasionally it is okay if you mention there that the internet was not available, I was not able to complete the test, or something like that. But primarily the purpose of Piazza is to ask questions that this particular method of solving a problem, how do you find out, how do you solve this, and I don't understand this particular way of solving the problem, and if somebody can explain that. So those kind of questions. And questions like the last quiz was very easy, and we want some difficult quizzes. Those kind of questions are generally out of bounds. I mean, as I said, occasional presence of those kind of questions is okay, but make sure that the primary purpose of Piazza is for exchanging the class related information which is useful for learning of the class. So there is a prerequisite for this course. And I hope that everyone has taken that prerequisite, and the prerequisite is calculus. If you have taken calculus 1, that's almost sufficient to take this course. If you have seen multivariable calculus, that would be great. But if you have not seen that, that's okay. We will use some of it here, but I think this course will be self-contained. You will learn some of those things during the course. So if you have not taken calculus before, I would strongly suggest to not take this course now and take it at some other time. So make sure that you have the prereq met for this course. We have teaching assistants for the course, and one teaching assistant is Munif Rizvi. Munif, are you around?
Yes, I'm around, but my net
Munif, I think your
bad.
connection is a bit is a bit broken. We were not able to hear you, but yeah, you are around. So one is Munif Rizvi, and Munif has previously TA'd a course with me. On Piazza, when you ask the questions, it is it becomes very important to get answers to those questions very quickly. And Munif and other TAs who worked with me last semester, they were very responsive in answering those questions. We will have two more TAs, which we have not selected yet. We will announce those maybe in a day or so. Okay. So make sure that you have access to the TAs. They have office hours. I will have office hours. If you have any question about the material taught in the class, make sure you ask those questions on Piazza within the office hours. And if both of those venues are not workable for you, you can also set up a time with us. So make sure that you leverage the resources available for this course. We since this is a course, there is a grading component associated with it. We have to get a grade at the end of the day, at the end of the semester, and we have no midterm in the course. No, there is no midterm in the course. So I generally take midterm outside class. So there is a question. Anas Naeem has asked a question: can we come to your office in LUMS during office hours? I'm afraid that would probably not be possible. LUMS will not allow that. I will be happy to do that, but I think this would not be possible during the COVID days. Once the campus opens on 1st of February, if it does, then obviously you should be able to come to my office and meet with me. But I am generally available even late nights, early mornings, etc. So you can always set up a time with me if you can't come to my office hours. Um, my office hours are 4 to 5 p.m. on Wednesday. But these office hours are just a placeholder. Students generally contact me at several other times, but and I try to be available mostly. So I was talking about grading. In grading, we have three components. We have homeworks, and we have quizzes, and we have a final exam. Okay? Homeworks and quizzes and a final exam. Okay? We will have, roughly every 10 days, one homework, 1 week or 10 days, one homework, and there will be about 8 to 9 homeworks throughout the semester. Each of those homework will consist of 2% grade per homework, 2% grade per homework. Okay, and we will use N-1 policy, which means that you can choose to drop one homework of your choice, So this would be approximately 15% of the total grade, 15% of the total grade. Sometimes people argue that, this 2% is too low. There is just so much stuff that you need to do for the homework. While that is true, the main purpose of the homeworks, is to make sure that the theory that we learn in the class, you get a lot of practice about the problems. And in this particular course, although this applies to other courses as well, but in this particular course, it is very important to get practice with the questions. And I think that that the main purpose of the homework should be that, rather than on the grade. In addition to that, we allow multiple students to do the homeworks together. Up to 4 students, can submit single write-up. Up to 4 students can submit a single write-up. Okay. Suleiman, if you're saying that shift the quizzes from Sunday to weekdays or class timings, please, this was stated in the course outline. We will not have that. There are 100+ students in the class, and from my experience, we will never be able to reach a consensus. So Sunday afternoon would be it. If this doesn't work for you, and you have not read this in the course outline, I think, I'm afraid that you will have to make some arrangements. Okay, so this is about the homeworks. Mohammad Bilal Shahid, so no more discussion on that. This was stated in the outline that there will be no quizzes. It just takes too much time to take a quiz in an online setting. So I have answers to all the questions that you will ask. Just trust me. We will not have. It is not feasible to do maximum learning and still have quizzes within the class times. If we have a quiz within the class time, 20 minutes will be wasted in the quiz, and another 20 minutes will be wasted for 20 minutes will be wasted for logistics and arrangements. So no, we will have quizzes outside the class. We will not have a poll. Okay, we can have a poll to set a specific time on Sunday afternoon, but we will not have a poll to have a quiz on Monday evening or Saturday or maybe Wednesday morning. So yeah. So for quizzes, if you guys have gone through the course outline or not have gone through the course outline, I would just repeat it here. We will have about approximately 10 to 12 quizzes. 10 to 12 quizzes. And about 7 to 9% of the grade. I think it would be 7% or 8% per quiz. 7 or 8% per quiz. Okay, and this would be individual quizzes, just like in the case of homework. Up to 4 students can collaborate for the homeworks, but the quizzes are individual. And they would be online on LMS, timed and random. timed and random. Random means that you can go back and forth, from the questions. Oh, somebody has asked the question that can we at least have a poll for the tutorial timings? For the tutorial timings, we have set the time Monday 7 to 8 p.m. Yeah, that's just a placeholder. We can change it based on the poll, and we can probably have more tutorials in one week. Or maybe the time will be changing. The TAs will work to find a time which is most suitable for all the students. And even if there is a clash in the tutorial timing, that is not an issue, because the tutorial video will be uploaded on the class website, or the YouTube channel. We do have a YouTube channel. I'll talk about that. So the quizzes will be timed and random. So about 65% of the total grade. Okay, and we will use the n-2 policy. I'll talk a little bit more about the n-2 policy. Roughly every Sunday, except maybe for the first Sunday, roughly every Sunday we will have a quiz. So about 65% of the grade. We request you to follow the honor code and not cooperate on the quizzes, not collaborate on the quizzes. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So final is comprehensive. Final is comprehensive, and this would be during the allocated time. During the allocated time, whatever time RO has allocated, I don't have that at the top of my head, but this allocated time, whatever is on Zambil available, no exceptions for that. So if you think that you cannot take the final at that time, you will need to make arrangements at your end. We will not have an alternate final. It just takes too much time, several days to make a good final. Especially in an online environment, we will not be able to make an alternate final. So there are no exceptions. We will have just one final. Everyone has to take that final on that particular day. So no exception for the final, and this would be about 20 to 25% of the grade, depending upon how many quizzes do we have, how many homeworks do we have. So I am expecting it would be between 20 to 25%. Okay. For this n-2 policy for the quizzes, this is just to facilitate you in regular semesters when the teaching is in person. I think everyone knows, or maybe most of you know, that if you miss a quiz or a homework or an exam, you have to go to OSA, you have to file a petition, get a doctor prescription or whatever. You have to go through that trouble. So with this n-2 policy is just to avoid that trouble, just to give you some relaxation from that trouble. If two of the quizzes, one or two of the quizzes are going bad, you are unable to attempt those, and especially in an online setting, you can have a bad internet connection. Sometimes you are unable to submit on LMS for various reasons. So you don't need to worry about it. If one or two quizzes have gone south, that's okay. Because we do have n-2 policy, and somebody has asked the question whether these quizzes would be MCQ based. These will be mostly not MCQ based. There might be some MCQ type of questions in some of the quizzes, but mostly these will be solved problems, solved questions, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Although we do have a detailed page on quizzes, if you log into LMS, the front page will say the SOPs that we will need to follow for the quizzes. So the n-2 policy is to facilitate you to avoid all that documentation that you have to do with OSA, and then OSA has to send email to the instructors. We will just avoid that work, that trouble. And if you have two or less quizzes not going well, then you don't need to worry about it, because we will drop two quizzes automatically. If there are occasions when more than two quizzes are three or four quizzes, if you choose that you don't want to use the n-2 policy, that's okay. You can go through OSA, do all that work, and OSA will send us an email. But it is important to realize that if you choose to go through that route, then we will not apply the n-2 policy for you. If you think that you will miss four quizzes, and I can tell you right now, if you miss four quizzes, then OSA, might not be in favor of you. You'll have to go through the trouble of submitting all the documentation with the OSA. If somebody has gone through that, they can probably tell you. So important to realize that, use this policy wisely. Don't attend a friend's birthday party on the first quiz day. If you miss that, you miss that. Make sure that this N-2 policy is utilized for genuine reasons. We do understand that the internet, taking exams online over the internet, could be tricky, could be risky. Anything can happen. It does. When I was teaching a course last semester, my internet went down. Although I conduct all the lectures, I record all these lectures while sitting in my office in LUMS. Still, my internet went down. The electricity power went off, and we didn't have any internet available at that time. So we do understand that there are these sort of emergency situations. So make sure that you keep that N-2 policy for the emergency situations, not for general hanging out with the friends. Okay. So please keep that in mind. If you miss more than 2 quizzes, please do not send email to us. Make sure that if you want to use an N-3, N-4 kind of a policy, we will not have that available. You will have to go through, if you miss 5 quizzes, you will have to go through OSA. And I'm not sure if they will allow you to do that or not. They will probably ask you that, if you're missing half of the quizzes, you better take the semester off, rather than taking this semester this time. So just as a summarizing word of caution, that use this policy with the utmost wisdom. Okay. With that, if there is any question about the quizzes, homeworks, final grading, please feel free to ask. You can raise your hand and ask the question, or you can type the question. Yeah, no question here. Okay, great. So we have a book. There is a recommended book for the course that we will closely follow, and the book is called. Yes, Talal has asked that will the homeworks be typed in LaTeX? No, we do not require that. You can just write the homeworks by hand, scan those, or take pictures. Take nice pictures, readable kind of pictures, not very blurry kind of pictures, and then upload those. So Kimra has asked how long in terms of time will each quiz be? Approximately 30 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes, sometimes 35 minutes, but depending upon how much coverage is given. So approximately 30 minutes, and we will give you 5 extra minutes to submit these quizzes. I have given some detail about the quiz SOP on the front page. When you log into LMS and go to the class website, the front page will give you a lot of detail about the quizzes. If you can go through that would be great. So these quizzes, these quizzes will be random, will not be linear. Linear means that once you attempt a question, you cannot go back to that question after you have moved to the next question. But random means you can move back and forth. You can attempt a question once and then come back to it and maybe change the answer and resubmit it. You can always do that in the quizzes that we have. So another question is no, I think we have answered that question. How long each quiz would be? Each quiz about 30 minutes, as I said. By the way, there is some more detail about the quizzes. So we do understand that when you are in an online setting, you can only provide answers that are numbers. So for this kind of a course, it's not that big of a problem, but still, people would like to get some partial credit. So we will have this flexibility that if you have done some work, you can write your answer So let's say we have given you a numerical problem and you have to find a mathematical answer. So you can type that mathematical answer right there. But what if that mathematical answer is wrong and your method was correct? You would probably want to get some partial credit. So we will have this flexibility that for every question, at the end of the question, we will have an option to upload your work. So you can just take a picture and upload that work. Make sure that your camera is ready, your phone is ready, or you have arrangement to do that. So those 5 extra minutes which are given to you are just for this purpose. We will not give any extra time uh, to scan and then convert those to PDF and upload. So make sure that whatever pictures that you take, for each question you should submit just one single PDF file. Okay. um, and based on that, we may be able to give you some partial credit if your provided answer is incorrect. If your answer is correct, then we're not gonna even look at the work that you will upload, because in that case you will get full credit anyways. And this technique has worked quite well, and we did not know about it when last semester I was teaching a course and Munif was teaching. We learned this halfway through the course, and this has worked very well for us as well as for the students, and students were generally happy um, about this. So the book that we are going to follow is going to be a first course. This is a first course. So a first course in probability by Sheldon Ross, and we will use the 9th edition of the book. 9th edition of the book is available on LMS. Okay, you can take a look at that. By the way, when you are doing the homeworks, it is important to realize that in today's world, you might be able to find solutions to all those questions online. That's okay. I think it is important. It is important to attempt the questions yourself, uh, rather than copying from online solutions. I'm not saying that you can't look at the online solutions. You can look at those later on, but try to attempt the questions yourself. Otherwise, you will have trouble in the quizzes and the final exam, and your learning process would be hampered. So once again, just to reiterate, at the risk of reiterating, the role of the homework is to make sure that you get practice with the questions, and so that you can understand the material much better. um, and it is okay to discuss the homeworks, not just within your group. Of course you will discuss within your group, because you will be submitting a single write-up for your group. It is also okay to discuss it with other students in the class. That's perfectly all right. But I would still strongly urge not to submit solutions which are blatant copies from online sources, or from other students. Provide your own write-up. If there is an issue with some problems that you are unable to understand, you're unable to solve, or unable to move forward, you can discuss it with fellow students. You can probably look at online as well, but make sure that you understand it and provide the solution in your own write-up, in your own way. um, so Izaz is asking, one PDF for all questions. No, for each question you can upload one PDF. For each question you can upload one PDF, and we will give you the option to do that. We'll give you the option to. Okay. So somebody had a question. किसी का mic on है? Anyone has a question? No question. Okay. So we will closely follow this book. This is a closely follow this book. I think we should be able to do up to chapter 7, chapter 1 to 7. That's my target. In online setting, the targets generally get shifted. So there is a question: if the quizzes are going to be taken on Sundays, can it please be done during afternoon, morning? So for Sunday, we can do a poll. around 3 p.m., 4 p.m. or something like that. That, in my experience, has turned out to be a time when most of the students are available. Okay. Um, we can make a group of 4 for homework, right? Yes, you can make a group of up to 4 students, 1, 2, 3, 4 students. So upload the PDF only for partial marks. Abdullah Naveed is asking. So you upload the PDF only for partial marks. If your answer is correct, then we are not going to even look at the PDF. We'll just give you the full marks. Okay. So Sarah is asking, want to take a lot of time to upload one PDF per question, given that we have just 5 minutes for uploading all questions. Once you get into the practice, you will see that, generally we will have only 3 questions or maximum 4 questions, typically 3 questions in a quiz. Sometimes 2 questions in a quiz. So it would not be too much of a trouble. Just make sure you get practice that when you take pictures with your phone camera, then your phone camera transfer the pictures immediately to your computer or convert to PDF. Get some practice with that if you haven't done that previously, so that you can do it very quickly. And typically this process is extremely fast. It doesn't take too much of a time. So Fazan is asking, can we upload all questions in one PDF only? Unfortunately not, because different questions will be graded by different TAs. So if you don't upload, there will be a space after each question, where you will be able to upload. If you don't upload anything there, then it would be an issue for grading. Can we directly upload JPEG images? I think we can live with the JPEG images. We will prefer PDF, but we can live with the JPEG images. By the way, when you attempt the questions or quizzes on LMS or the final exam on LMS, it is very, very strongly urged that, in fact, the IT department, IST, will tell you that do not access the quiz from more than one location. If you do that, you will have a high probability of getting into trouble. So access the quiz or final exam only from one browser window, one tab in the browser, and do not use a mobile phone to access LMS. If you do that, I think there are issues that have been reported, and we will not be able to cater to those kind of issues. So those will just fall in N-2 kind of a policy. Can we upload more questions? Can we directly upload JPEG images? Yes. Can you please reiterate what you mean by PDFs are only for partial marks? Faraz, you can go ahead and watch this video again. But what I said is that if you don't upload the PDF, then whatever answer you provide, the numerical answer you provide, we will grade you on the basis of that. We will not know how you have reached that answer. If that answer is correct, you'll get full marks. If it is not correct, you will not get any marks. Okay. So if you upload the PDF or you're working, then you will be entitled to get partial marks. Will we have access to your handwritten notes from the live class? Some of those, maybe not all of those, but some of those I will make those available. Can we upload same file for all questions for each question to save time? I think you can do that. We should be able to handle that. That is not a problem. Okay, so yeah. By the way, we have lectures videos available online on Zoom site. Yeah, these videos will be available, maybe couple of hours, few hours after the lecture is finished. They do some processing and then they make the video available. So I will share that link on Piazza. On Piazza, I will share that link. And also we have a YouTube channel. We already have a YouTube channel, and the link for that is also available on LMS and on Piazza page. You can take a look at that. I will upload the videos, by the end of the same day. So for example, the lecture that we are going through today, This video will be uploaded by the end of the day. So YouTube channel, I will upload the videos uploaded. Um, in our experience and the feedback that we have gotten from the students, it seems that the YouTube channel is a better way if your bandwidth is low. So if your internet connection is a bit flaky, um, probably it is better to use the YouTube channel rather than the Zoom site. Although you can use either, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the same video which is available at both places. But if you feel that on the Zoom site the video um, is rebuffering and stopping in the way, try the YouTube channel, because YouTube adjusts the rate according to your bandwidth. So use either of those, and these lectures will be available. As I said, tutorials will also be tutorials will also be recorded. Right, Munif, if you're still here, can you please confirm that the tutorials will be recorded and they will also be uploaded on the YouTube channel, right? Yeah, Munif's connection was not great, but yeah, I think this would be the case, so we don't need to worry about it. Okay. Um, so two things that I want to mention is honor code. Honor code. Okay. So if you don't follow the honor code, we're not going to do anything with you. You know, it's something that you are doing to yourself. You know, just realize your purpose of attending LUMS and taking courses. Just remember that purpose, and then act accordingly. Okay. So for homeworks, as I said, for homeworks, uh, your own write-up. Provide your own write-up. Provide your own write-up. And as I said, one for the group. One for the group. It is okay to talk to other people. It is okay to consult online resources, but no blatant copying, because it is not useful and it will kill the purpose of homework. And the purpose is to practice with the questions, so that the material that you learn in the class that gets you know um, that gets settled into you deeply. Okay. And the quizzes and the final, for quizzes and finals, we have this zero collaboration policy. Zero collaboration. And we are trusting you, we will trust you, we are leaving it up to you that you maintain this zero collaboration honor code policy yourself. So that means no WhatsApp, communication, or no other type of communication, no other form of communication, not even after the quiz, not even after the quiz. There is no need to discuss in person with somebody, some of your friends. We understand that there are 100 students and there will be several friends uh, among this group. If there is, the simple rule is that if there is something that you cannot ask on Piazza, you cannot post on Piazza, that is probably not right. If there is something that you can ask in public, only ask that regarding the quizzes or final exams or the homeworks. Okay. um, so that finishes the logistics. It has taken quite a bit of time, as more than my expectations, but hopefully we have gone over it once. If there is a need to recall some of it, you can always go ahead and rewatch this video on YouTube later on. So we will try to delve into the course material now. But before we do that, I will take a pause and try to answer if you guys have any questions. So feel free to ask your questions, either by typing, or if you want to use the microphone, you can ask the questions. Koi question ho? Mohammad Hamza Rafi? Yeah, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. जी सर, मेरा ये सवाल था कि ये क्विज, ये होमवर्क रिलेटेड, कि जब अगर आपका एक ग्रुप बनता है अप टू 4 मेंबर, उन्होंने एक ही राइट अप सबमिट करवाना है ना, मतलब उसके अंदर
जी
तो
जी,
आपने अपना दोबारा बैठ के नहीं लिखना है ना कि एक
नहीं
मेंबर ने
नहीं
कर लिया
नहीं,
फिर आप दोबारा
सिंगल
लिखो
राइट,
बैठ के
सिंगल राइट अप,
ठीक
पूरे
है।
ग्रुप का एक सिंगल राइट अप होगा। जैसे 4 स्टूडेंट्स हैं या 3 है, जितना का भी ग्रुप बनता है, वन सिंगल राइट अप, यू हैव टू सबमिट वन सिंगल राइट अप।
थैंक यू सर।
ठीक है, एंड यू कैन आल्सो चेंज द ग्रुप फ्रॉम वन होमवर्क टू अनदर होमवर्क, दैट्स आल्सो ओके। Typically students stick to the same group, but if you want to change the group later on, make sure कि इस अपॉर्चुनिटी को यूज करें, कि ये होमवर्क्स जो है ना, ये आपकी अपनी लर्निंग के लिए उसको आपने कितना लेवरेज करना है, वी डोंट कंट्रोल दैट, नोबडी एल्स कंट्रोल दैट, ओनली यू कंट्रोल दैट। सो उसके अंदर it's always difficult, we have been student, मैं भी स्टूडेंट रहा हूँ, तो बड़ा मुश्किल होता है होमवर्क्स करना, उनके सवाल अटेम्प्ट करना, सोचना पड़ता है, चीजें गलत होती हैं, बट दैट्स ओके, दैट्स हाउ द लर्निंग प्रोसेस गोस। ठीक है, कोई और कोई और सवाल, एनीवन एल्स? No? Okay, so I will jump to the course material. Let's see if we can cover some decent amount of material in the last half an hour that we have left. So I'm going to talk about what we call a random experiment. Random experiment. What is a random experiment? Random experiment is an experiment um, whose outcome whose outcome is not predetermined. For example, you toss a coin, you don't know whether it will show up tail or it will show up head. So this is a perfect example of a random experiment whose outcome is not predetermined. Outcome is not predetermined. Okay, you throw a dice, you don't know whether it will show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So this is also an example of a random experiment. You have playing cards, a deck of 52 cards, playing cards. You draw one card from that deck randomly. That's also an experiment. हमें पता नहीं है कौन सा कार्ड आपके सामने आ जाएगा. So that's a random experiment. And whatever outcome of that experiment that you see, that outcome is also one of the possible outcomes. Now, I would like to mention here that when you perform a random experiment, there is a set of outcomes. There is a set of outcomes that you can see. These number of outcomes can be finite, and it can also be infinite. The number of outcomes can be what we call discrete. That means you can count those and you can see each of those, or it could be what we call continuous, and I'll give you example of that. So the outcomes can be discrete or continuous. So an example of discrete outcome would be rolling a dice. एक लूडो का जो दाना है उसको रोल करें, and you can get 6 possible outcomes, 1 2 3 4 5 6. इन 6 में से कुछ एक नजर आ जाएगा आपको, and these are the fixed possible outcome. जितनी मर्जी दफा आप एक्सपेरिमेंट रिपीट कर लें, it does not matter how many times you repeat the experiment, every time you will get one of these 6 possible outcomes. So these are discrete outcomes, you can count them, and the number is finite. Okay, you can also have an infinite number of discrete outcomes. We'll give you an example later on, but discrete means that you can count those and they are separated from each other nicely. Continuous means that there is a continuum of outcomes. So for example, you turn on a light bulb and then wait until it gets fused. कितनी देर लगेगी उसको फ्यूज होने में? The amount of time that it takes for the bulb to go off automatically, जब वो जल जाएगा, ठीक है, वो उसकी लाइफ टाइम है बल्ब की. So that lifetime is a continuous outcome. हमें पता नहीं है कि हो सकता है 1 घंटा लगे, हो सकता है 1 घंटा 1 मिनट लगे, हो सकता है 1.000000001 hour लगे. So you can have an infinite possible values which are infinitely close to each other. So it is a continuum of of outcomes that you can get out of that experiment. Okay. Similarly, waiting time to get your meal in PDC, if you have been there. So so that is also an experiment that you perform. Kitna time lagega usme? You will get some value, and that value is could be anything, उसको आप count नहीं कर सकते इस तरह से कि ये 3 minutes or 4 minutes, 3 और 4 के बीच में there are infinite values. 3 minutes and 4 minutes के बीच में infinite values, and you can get any of those values. Okay. So so outcomes can be discrete or continuous. We'll talk a lot more about discrete and continuous later on in the course, but understand that when you perform a random experiment, then you get one of the possible outcomes, okay. And this view gives us a definition of probability, although we will wait until chapter 2 to formally define probability, but I'll give you a rough idea of what probability is. So this would be frequentist definition. So there are many definitions of probability. This would be the frequentist definition of probability. This leads to the frequentist definition of probability. Okay. What that means is, you toss a coin. Okay, you will see a head or a tail. Okay. Tossing the coin once, does it tell you anything about the probability of getting a head or a tail? No. एक दफा आपने किया तो आपके पास तो tail आएगा या head आएगा. Let's say कि आपके पास tail आ गया. You cannot say anything about the probability that this coin has for showing the tail. कैसे पता चलेगा कि tail आने की probability कितनी है? What is the chance of getting a tail? So probability is equivalent to the chance. What is the chance of getting a tail when you toss a coin? We all know that 50-50. 50% chance of getting a head, 50% chance of getting a tail. But how do we define this? Okay, the probability of getting a tail is 50% or 0.5. The probability of getting a head is also 50% or 0.5 if the coin is fair, of course. Okay. So how do you come to that? So in order to reach that, you perform the random experiment a very large number of times, infinite times maybe. ठीक है? Random experiment को आपने बहुत दफा repeat करना है. So for example, you take a coin and toss it a very, very large number of times. If the coin is fair, it makes sense to us that about 50% of the time you will see the tails, about 50% of the time you will see the heads. So that tells you that this coin has a probability of 0.5 showing tails, 0.5 showing heads. Okay. Sometimes you may have a biased coin. एक biased coin भी हो सकता है जो 80% of the time tails दिखाए और 20% of the time आपको heads दिखाएगा. And that's also okay. By tossing that coins once, I will not be able to find out that probability. I will need to toss that coin a billion times or trillion times or even more. उसके बाद जो है इतनी बार उसको toss करने के बाद मुझे पता चलेगा what percentage of the tosses result in a tail. If 80% of the tosses result in a tail, then the probability of tail is 0.8 or 80%. 0.8 or 80%, same thing. Okay. And the probability of head by default would be 20% or 0.2. Okay. So Mohammad Farooq has a question. If we generate a random real number between 1 and 3, then will it also have continuous outcome? This experiment will have a continuous outcome. You always have outcomes of random experiments. Okay. How do we deal exceptions with probability? For example, coin standing vertically. We can deal with that by assigning a probability to that event. एक coin अगर vertically stand हो जाए तो उसकी probability, अगर उसको मैंने billion trillion infinite times toss किया है और वो एक बार भी stand नहीं हुआ, so that means the probability of point standing is zero. अगर मैंने उसको billion times toss किया है और एक बार हो गया है, so this is 1 out of a billion. This is 1 out of a billion. So you can convince yourself that in order to define the probability of an outcome, of a random experiment, कि probability tail आ जाए, probability head आ जाए, उसके लिए मुझे ये frequentist definition of probability use करनी पड़ेगी. There is another definition of probability which is tied with the subjective interpretation. So second definition is about the subjective interpretation or belief. ठीक है? So I believe that Pakistan will beat in cricket whoever is the next opponent. Although the chances are very low, we all know that, especially after what happened in New Zealand. Lekin, this is a subjective interpretation. This is not something which is going to happen a very large number of times. ये ऐसा experiment नहीं है जिसको मैं infinite time repeat कर सकता हूँ. Or Earth was separated from the sun. The chances of that are 1 in a trillion, or something like that. That's a belief. This is not an experiment that I can repeat a large number of times. So the frequentist definition does not fit in here. This is the belief definition or the subjective interpretation which fits in here. So similarly, a specific person, this person has been in the past has been subjected to coronavirus. So you guys might all know that when in September in the fall semester, LUMS invited a couple of hundred students to live on campus. They were still attending classes online. They were not attending classes. There were no in-person classes. But LUMS had this SOPs when every student and faculty and staff they were tested for antibodies for coronavirus. Just by looking at the person, you would not be able to tell whether this guy has a positive antibody test or a negative antibody test. Positive antibody test means this person has been exposed to coronavirus in the past. The guy doesn't have any symptoms, never had any symptoms. You don't know anything about the history, but will this person have a positive coronavirus antibody test? Yes or no? That will depend upon what percentage of population has previously been exposed to coronavirus, which will result in a positive antibody test. So if 30% or 25% of the population has been exposed, then if you pick a random person और उसको आप subject बना दें test का, तो उसका कोरोना वायरस एंटीबॉडी का टेस्ट पॉजिटिव आएगा with a probability of 0.25 25% लोगों का अगर पॉजिटिव है. So that's also an interpretation which is sort of a mix of subjective interpretation, grounded with the numbers. कि हमारे पास 300 students आ गए थे, 300 students में से about 25% students they showed coronavirus antibody test positive. So if you pick a random person, the likelihood that this person, the chance that this person, I'm using these terms very, very carefully. The chance, the likelihood, all of these are used interchangeably to designate probability. So the probability of a random person selected from this group of 300 or students would be 0.25 or about 25%, because we knew that after testing that 25% of the individuals they tested positive. And this is I think this number is not just for the students, this is for the entire campus community, which includes staff and faculty as well. Okay. So Qaim is saying that subjective interpretation has no real factual basis. That is correct. That is correct. And there are probabilistic methods that we use to associate mathematical numbers to those. Okay. Another question is, can't we do individual test of each student and then use the frequentist definition? Well, if you do the individual test of every student, you have the ग्राउंड ट्रूथ, फिर तो आपके पास ग्राउंड ट्रूथ अवेलेबल है, वहां पे प्रोबेबिलिटी की जरूरत नहीं है, ठीक है। सो इन फैक्ट दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट वी डिड। वो तो हमने ऐसे किया था कि सबके सब स्टूडेंट्स का, सब पूरी फैकल्टी का, पूरे स्टाफ का टेस्टिंग कर ली थी, और उसके बाद हमें पता चल गया कि 25% ऑफ द पीपल आर एंटीबॉडी पॉजिटिव। सो given that information, now if I pick a random person, what are the chances that this person would be antibody positive? That is 0.25. That is 0.25. ठीक है। Similarly, if there is a specific trait in Pakistani population, so 10% of the Pakistani population has a specific trait. If I pick a random person from the country and ask this question, does this person has this specific trait? The chances of that would be 10% or 0.1, 10% or 0.1. So these are two very famous, well-known ways that you can define probability. As we move forward, we will have a lot more questions. Chapter 2 is dedicated to the definition of probability and axioms. We'll jump to that, but before that, we will need to do, some basic housekeeping, and that housekeeping includes very simple counting. Every one of us is able to count. So counting जो है वो बड़ी आसान सी चीज है. The reason that we do counting in a probability course, in order to justify that, I will give you an example. एक example आपको देते हैं, and then that example will tell you that counting is very useful in order to answer probability questions. So example is, let's say you have four antennas. So all of your cell phones and wireless devices, they have these antennas. किसी पे एक होता है, किसी पे दो होते हैं. So let's say that there is a device which has four antennas. ठीक है, four antennas जिसमें से exactly two defective हैं, exactly two defective. ठीक है, so that means two are perfectly working. ठीक है, so you mount these four antennas onto your cell phone or onto your wireless tower. कोई भी वायरलेस डिवाइस है उसके ऊपर ये चार एंटेनास लगा देते हैं. ठीक है, एंड देन यू विल सी whether this device is working or not. ठीक है, we know that the device will work, or the system works if the defective antennas are not together, not adjacent. वो अगर एक साथ नहीं है, उनके बीच में कोई एक वर्किंग एंटेना आ गया है तो सिस्टम काम करेगा. अगर दो ब्रोकन एंटेनास हैं, वो इकट्ठे आ गए हैं, ठीक है, तो फिर सिस्टम काम नहीं करेगा. ठीक है, and I'm interested in finding out what are the chances that the system will work. When I say what are the chances that the system will work, that also means what is the likelihood that the system will work. That also means what is the probability that the system will work. So please understand that when we use these words, chances, likelihood, probability, these are all used interchangeably to define the probability. Okay, so let's try to find out कि ये चार एंटेनास थे, उनको मैंने एक जगह पे एक डिवाइस के ऊपर लगा दिया, एक रैंडमली प्लेस कर दिया, एक एंटेना उठाया, लगा दिया, फिर दूसरा लगाया, फिर तीसरा, फिर चौथा. So what we can do is we can, let's say that 0 means a defective antenna and 1 means a good antenna, working antenna. ठीक है, so 0 1 1 0 मैंने ऐसे प्लेस कर दिया. Is the system working? Yes or no? Is the system working? Yes or no? Answers in the chat window. 0 means broken and 1 means working antenna. Single antenna काम कर रहा है. So the system is working? The system is working. Why? Because these two broken antennas, this guy here, and this guy here, these two broken antennas, they are not adjacent to each other. If they are not adjacent to each other, then the system will be working. So अगर ऐसे हो जाए 1 0 0 1, system working or not? Yes or no? Answer in the chat window. system is, so somebody said yes, why, I'm not sure why. फिर किसी ने yes कहा था, उनका नाम ऊपर चला गया, मुझे पता नहीं. So system will not be working. Why? Because these two bad guys are together. And if these two bad guys, two defective antennas, they are adjacent. If they are adjacent, the system will not work. The system will not work. So let's go through all the possible ways that I can put these four antennas on the device. You can have 1 1 0 0. System working or not? Yes or no? तैमूर साहब यस नहीं कह सकते, ये दो जीरोस इकट्ठे आ गए, सो नॉट, सिस्टम विल नॉट बी वर्किंग. 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 working? Yes, working, great. And then 0 1 0 1 working? Yes or no? Working, yes, great. एक और रह गया 0 0 1 1, ये देखो ऊपर कहीं पे भी नहीं है 0 0 1 1. ठीक है, वर्किंग और नो? नॉट वर्किंग, नॉट वर्किंग. ठीक है, सो दीज आर द ओनली 6 पॉसिबिलिटीज. घर पे जाके देखिएगा, इसके अलावा कोई और पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है, ये कोई और पैटर्न ऑफ जीरोस एंड वंस नहीं आ सकता. ठीक है, एंड in this case what I have done is I have manually gone through this. I have manually written down all the possible combinations of zeros and ones in this case. ये सारे दो जीरोस हैं और दो वंस हैं, उनकी सारी पॉसिबल कॉम्बिनेशंस मैंने यहाँ पे लिख दी. ठीक है, इन 6 के अलावा और नहीं हो सकती, इन 6 के अलावा और नहीं हो सकती. ठीक है ना, हाउ डू वी फाइंड आउट कि ये 6 होंगे? ये तो 4 एंटेनास थे जिसमें से 2 खराब थे, 2 ठीक थे. And it was very easy for us to manually write these down. What if you have 200 antennas, out of which 173 are working and the remaining 27 are not working? Would you be able to write these patterns of zeros and ones manually? No, it would be a nightmare. We will not be able to answer कि ये सारी कौन सी कॉम्बिनेशंस. यहाँ पे तो ये 6 ही हैं, ये 6 मैंने मैनुअली लिख दी हैं. Now, so it is important to be able to make account, here. ये किस तरह से आपने काउंटिंग किया, अभी उसका यूज हमें पता नहीं चला. In order to answer this probability question, is the system working? When you randomly place antenna on a cell phone, will the cell phone be working or not? तो हमने ये देखा कि अगर ये वाली पहली प्लेसमेंट हो तो वर्किंग होता है, ये वाली प्लेसमेंट हो तब भी वर्किंग होता है, ये वाली प्लेसमेंट हो तब भी वर्किंग होता है, बाकी केसेस में नॉट वर्किंग एंड नॉट वर्किंग. सो दैट मींस out of these 6 possibilities, there are 3 possibilities that the system will be working. There are 3 possibilities that the system will be working, and there are 3 possibilities that the system will not be working. ठीक है, मैंने ये 4 एंटेनास उठाए हैं और उनको एक सेल फोन पे लगा दिया है. सेल फोन will work in 3 cases, cell phone will not work in 3 cases. लेकिन हमें पता नहीं है कि इसमें से कौन सा केस सामने आ जाएगा, ये वाला केस सामने आएगा, ये वाला आएगा, ये वाला, इनमें से कौन सा केस सामने आएगा. Since we don't know that and we are placing the antennas randomly onto the cell phone, पहला दूसरा तीसरा चौथा करके लगा दिया, so that means this is a random experiment. This is a random experiment which has 6 possible outcomes. This is a random experiment with 6 possible outcomes. Okay. 3 result in system working and 3 result in not working. Okay. So now if I ask chances or the probability that system will work when you randomly place the 4 antennas, what are the chances? So this would be 3 out of 6. This would be 3 out of 6, which is equal to 0.5. Okay. So the probability that the system will work when you put these 4 antennas randomly on a device, the device will work with 50% probability or 0.5 probability. 0.5 प्रोबेबिलिटी। ये हमें कैसे पता चलेगा? ये अगर हम एक दफा एक्सपेरिमेंट करें, अगर हम एक दफा एक्सपेरिमेंट करें तो या तो सिस्टम काम कर रहा होगा, इन 6 में से कोई एक आंसर आ जाएगा हमारे पास, 6 में से कोई एक आउटकम आएगी। आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू आंसर द प्रोबेबिलिटी क्वेश्चन, आई विल नीड टू रिपीट द एक्सपेरिमेंट इनफाइनाइट टाइम्स। मुझे इसको बहुत लार्ज नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स रिपीट करना पड़ेगा और फिर मुझे पता चलेगा कि half of the time system was working, half of the time system will not be working, half the time system will not be working. Okay, there are a few questions that students have asked. Let me just go through those. Shouldn't we consider that we exchange the defective antennas with each other or working antennas with each other, because that would make more combinations? I'm not sure what you mean by exchange, but those don't matter since a defective antenna is the same as another defective one. Of course, the defective. So we have only two categories of antennas: defective ones and the non-defective ones. There are no 1, 2, 3, 4 antennas. This is defective antennas, two defective, two non-defective. Okay. Khuzaima is asking, sir, wouldn't we need to know the shape of the antennas know the shape the antenna are installed in? For example, if the antennas are in circular pattern, the first case won't work. Yes, I think yes, Khuzaima, you are right. So in this case, we are just installing those in a linear fashion. Circular fashion में अगर लगा देंगे तो फिर ये पहले केस में जो है वो दोनों zeros जो है वो adjacent हो जाएंगे, and of course that's another counting problem. That's another counting problem. So the reason that we gave this example is to appreciate the fact that in order to find out this probability number, without performing the experiment infinite number of times, how do I find this probability number? How do I answer this probability question? Okay, you have a device, you put 4 antennas, 2 defective, 2 working. What is the probability that device is working? तो एक तो तरीका ये है कि इनफाइनाइट एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर लें आप, दूसरा तरीका ये है कि आप यहाँ पे ये काउंटिंग कर लें. दिस काउंटिंग, इफ यू कैन डू दिस काउंटिंग, then you will be able to answer this question. You will be able to answer this question. So that's very nice, being able to count. Okay? So with this justification for counting or motivation for counting, we will take a look at some of the very simple counting principles. And some of you might have seen or heard the names of permutations and combinations. We will talk about all of that. But before that, even simpler thing. The simpler thing is basic counting principle. Basic counting principle. Basic counting principle. So you have two experiments, experiment 1 and experiment 2. So experiment 1 has m possible outcomes. M possible outcomes, where m is a number. Okay. So Muhammad Sumeer Ahmad is asking, will both the probabilities be same if we perform an experiment and theoretically find it out? The answer is yes, if you perform the experiment an infinite number of times. And by the way, there are two very big rules in probability. We will learn both of those by the end of the course, not now. दोनों पता चल जाएंगे, लेकिन उसके लिए बहुत वेट करना पड़ेगा. उसमें से एक रूल जो है उसको कहते हैं लॉ ऑफ लार्ज नंबर्स. एंड द लॉ ऑफ लार्ज नंबर सेज कि जो सवाल सुमीर ने पूछा है कि will both the probabilities be same if we perform the experiment and theoretically find it out, the answer is yes, if you perform the experiment an infinite number of time. Hassan Ahmad is asking, I'm not sure what you're asking. We'll know for sure. I'm not sure what the question is. Sham is asking, more defective antennas than non-defective and is less than 0.5 probability of working and vice versa. Well, we can't say for sure. We will need to figure out. We will need to count. बगैर counting के हम आंसर नहीं कर सकते. That's why we are going through this counting exercise. Okay. So experiment 1 is m possible outcomes and experiment 2 is n possible outcomes. इसकी m possible outcomes हैं and n possible outcomes हैं. So basic counting principle says, oops, spelling is गलत हो रहा है. It says that together, if you perform experiment 1 and experiment 2 together, so for example, experiment 1 could be tossing a coin and experiment 2 could be rolling a dice. ठीक है, ये दो एक्सपेरिमेंट हैं अलग अलग. अगर आप इनको इकट्ठा करें, एक कॉइन भी टॉस कर दें और एक डाइस भी रोल कर दें टुगेदर, ठीक है, then if you perform together, then there will be a super experiment which will comprise of these two sub experiments. So this would be m times n outcomes, m multiplied by n outcomes. ठीक है, एग्जांपल देते हैं आपको, एग्जांपल देते हैं. So example is once again coin toss. coin toss करेंगे तो हमारे पास क्या आ सकता है, head और tail. ठीक है, कितनी outcomes, how many outcomes, 2 outcomes. Dice roll, how many outcomes, 1 2 3 4 5 6, कोई सा भी फेस आ सकता है, कोई भी फेस आ सकता है. So 6 outcomes. ठीक है. If you roll a dice and toss a coin together, according to the basic counting principle, this would be 6 times 2, 12 outcomes. कैसे कि एज के साथ 1 2 3 4 5 6 इन 6 में से कोई भी आ सकता है. इसी तरह टेल के साथ उन 6 में से कोई आ सकता है. So 6 plus 6, that is 12. That is 12. Very simple, very simple. ठीक है. There is a generalization of this as well. Generalization of basic counting principle of basic counting, and the generalization is that if you have more than 2 experiments, ठीक है, so if you have more than 2 experiments, वो इसी तरह सारे multiply हो जाते हैं. Experiment 1 n outcomes, experiment 2 m outcomes, experiment 3 p outcomes, so it would be m and p multiplied together. ठीक है, and the example of that would be 8 freshmen, 6 sophomores, 5 juniors and 2 seniors. 8 freshmen, 6 sophomores, 5 juniors and 2 seniors. Okay. Now select a committee. इसमें से एक कमेटी पिक करते हैं, of 4 with one member from each year, each group और year, जो भी आप उसको कह दें. So ये जो 8 फ्रेशमैन है, इनमें से एक सेलेक्ट करना है. 6 सोफोमोर हैं, एक सेलेक्ट करना है. 5 जूनियर्स, एक सेलेक्ट करना है. 2 सीनियर्स, एक सेलेक्ट करना है. So number of possible committees कितनी होंगी? Number of possible committees, देखें 8 फ्रेशमैन है, वो 8 हो सकते हैं. 8 डिफरेंट वेज हम सेलेक्ट कर सकते हैं. उन 8 में से एक चूज करेंगे. So there are 8 possible outcomes. अगर मैंने उसमें से randomly चूज करना है, so 8 possible outcomes. So 6 sophomores, 6 possible outcomes. 8 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 2. So whatever answer this comes out to, 480 आ जाएगा. ठीक है. So each of these committees, ये 480 different committees बना सकते हैं. 480 different committees बना सकते हैं. Each of those committees are equally likely. Each of these committees is equally likely. Very important. Is equally likely. ठीक है. उसका क्या मतलब है? उसका मतलब है कि पुराने वाली एग्जांपल पे आ जाएं. अगर हेड के साथ 4 आ जाए, उसका जो भी चांस है, उसकी जो भी प्रोबेबिलिटी है, वो एग्जैक्टली वही प्रोबेबिलिटी है जो टेल के साथ 5 आ जाए. So H and 4 has the same probability as tail and 5, which has the same probability as head and 6. इन सब की ये जो 12 मेरे पास डिफरेंट आउटकम्स बनती हैं, हर एक का चांस इक्वल है. टाइम साहब, ये पहले बताया कि ये लेक्चर अपलोड हो जाएगा. डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. वी विल अपलोड दिस ऑन YouTube चैनल एज वेल एज विल प्रोवाइड द लिंक ऑन पियाजा. के ऊपर एक पेज बना हुआ है. आप पियाजा पे जाएंगे तो सिर्फ 2 ही पोस्ट्स हैं वहां पे. उन दोनों को देख लें, उनके अंदर सारे ये लिंक्स प्रोवाइड किए हुए हैं. For this lecture, the link will only be provided after the lecture is finished. So एक last example very quickly हम ये कर लेंगे. 7 license plates, 7 place license, 7 place license plates. ये गाड़ियों के ऊपर लाइसेंस प्लेट्स लगती हैं जिसके अंदर 7 जो है वो प्लेसेस होती हैं. तो ये 3 जो है वो लेटर्स के लिए हैं और फिर 1 2 3 4 ये नंबर्स के लिए हैं. ये नंबर्स के लिए हैं और ये लेटर्स के लिए हैं. तो ये इस तरह होगा LXF 2919 इस तरह की कोई चीज लिखी होगी. सो हाउ मेनी पॉसिबल नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स, हाउ मेनी पॉसिबल ऑफ नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स, ये हम काउंटिंग ही कर रहे हैं अभी सिर्फ ना. नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स देखें, पहली प्लेस के ऊपर देयर आर 26 पॉसिबिलिटीज. लेटर्स आपके पास हैं. सो 26 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 26 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 26 दिस वुड बी 26 पावर 3 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय इस वाले डिजिट वाली प्लेस के ऊपर देयर आर 10 पॉसिबिलिटीज 0 से लेके 9 तक. सो 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 10, so this would be 10 power 4 multiplied by 10 power 4. Yeah. So this is the total number of license plates. So if we disallow अक्सर ये होता है कि लाइसेंस प्लेट्स में डिजिट्स 0 and 1, 0 और 1 को वो डिसअलाउ कर देते हैं. 0 और 1 को अगर डिसअलाउ कर दें तो कितनी लाइसेंस प्लेट्स हो सकती हैं, नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स कितनी हो सकती हैं. 0 और 1 को हमने डिसअलाउ कर दिया, लेटर्स अभी भी 26 हैं, नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स आपके पास 26 पावर 3 और 0 से लेके 9 तक अब आपके पास नहीं होंगे. नाउ यू हैव एलिमिनेटेड 0 and 1. और रीजन क्यों करते हैं, वो O और I के साथ कंफ्यूजन डाल देते हैं. सो ये 8 पावर 4 हो जाएगा. ठीक है, 8 पावर 4 हो जाएगा. ठीक है. इफ वी आल्सो डिसअलाउ लेटर्स I and O, I और O को भी डिसअलाउ कर लें तो नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स कितनी आ जाएंगी आपके पास. नंबर ऑफ प्लेट्स, आंसर इन द चैट विंडो. देखते हैं कौन लिखेगा सबसे पहले. या शाफरा जोहा, या 24 पावर 3 into 8 power 4. This is great. So this is the basic counting principle. So next time we will talk about permutations and combinations. I will close the lecture now. If there are any questions, so using the mic you can ask those questions. किसी का क्वेश्चन है तो वो हैंड रेज करें और अपना क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं. कोई क्वेश्चन है?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर.
जी,
सर
हमजा.
आपको
जी सर, मैंने आपसे ये पूछा था कि सर जब आपने स्टार्ट में सर आप दो तरह की आपने फ्रीक्वेंटिस्ट डेफिनेशन के अंदर आपने दो बातें की थी सर, एक डिस्क्रीट और एक कंटिन्यूस. सर कंटिन्यूस वाले आप एक बार एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं कि कंटिन्यूस से आपका मतलब क्या है. जैसे कि अगर 1 2 3 4 5 ये भी सर देखें ये डायरेक्ट नंबर्स ही हैं, तो सर क्या ये कंटिन्यूस होगा कि ये डिस्क्रीट में आएगा?
जी, वो 1 2 3 4 5 ये नंबर्स हैं, ये डिस्क्रीट ही होंगे. सो फॉर एग्जांपल मैं आपसे कहता हूं कि आप जाएं और मुझे बताएं कि पीडीसी में इस वक्त लाइन में कितने लोग खड़े हैं, तो वो जितने लोग खड़े होंगे 1 या 4 या 5 या 7, दैट इज अ डिस्क्रीट नंबर. तो वो जो एक्सपेरिमेंट आपने किया ना जाके देखने वाला, और कितने स्टूडेंट्स वहां पे खड़े थे, कितने लोग खड़े थे, दैट आउटकम इज अ डिस्क्रीट आउटकम. ठीक है. फिर मैं आपसे दूसरा सवाल करता हूँ. मैं कहता हूँ कि आप जाएं वहां पे और लाइन में खड़े हो जाएं और देखें आपकी बारी कितनी देर में आती है, कितना टाइम लगेगा. ठीक है. तो आप ये नहीं कह सकते मुझे 4 मिनट लगे या 5 मिनट लगे. इट कुड बी एनी नंबर बिटवीन 4 and 5 एंड you know that there are infinite numbers between 4 and 5. आप exactly ये नहीं कह सकते मुझे exact 4 मिनट लगे या exact 5 मिनट लगे.
ठीक है, थैंक यू सर.
ओके.
अगर सर जैसे उसको चेंज करके रियल नंबर्स पूछें, आप मुझसे पूछें कि रियल नंबर्स में कितना टाइम लगा आपको, तो सर वो तो फिर फाइनाइट हो जाएंगे ना, तो वो तो फिर कंटिन्यूस नहीं रह जाएगा. अगर जो टाइम है वो
रियल नंबर्स इनफाइनाइट होंगे. अगर मैं आपसे कहूं कि आप उसको जो है वो उसको इंटीजर में कन्वर्ट कर दें और उसको उसके अंदर आपको अप्रोक्सीमेशन करनी पड़ेगी, देन ऑफ कोर्स यू विल से कि मुझे 3 मिनट लगे या 4 मिनट लगे या 5 मिनट लगे. अगर 4 मिनट और कुछ सेकंड भी लगे आप उसको भी जो है 4 मिनट ही कह देंगे. बट वी नो दैट कि वहां पे हम वी आर लूजिंग द ग्रैनुलैरिटी. सो या
थैंक यू सर.
so yeah, with full granularity you cannot tell कि कितना टाइम लगेगा. प्रिसाइसली वो एक कंटिन्यूअस नंबर होगा, ठीक है। सो एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
Sir, can you explain what granularity means?
Granularity means के fine granularity का मतलब है कि things are very close to each other, the steps are very very small. Coarse granularity means that the steps are very very large, so you go from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this is less granular. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. This is fine granular. इससे ज़्यादा fine और क्या होगा? 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 इस तरह से जाएं। और ज्यादा करना हो तो और डेसिमल के आगे चले जाएंगे। इनफाइनाइट ग्रैनुलैरिटी का मतलब यह है कि आपके पास डेसिमल के बाद इनफाइनाइट प्लेसेस आ सकती हैं। सो व्हेन वी से कि आपको जो टाइम लगा है वो 4 मिनट और 5 मिनट के बीच में लगा है, कितना है 4 और 5 मिनट के बीच में मुझे पता नहीं है, डेसिमल के बाद कितनी फाइन ग्रैनुलैरिटी आ जाएगी, ठीक है।
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू।
ग्रेट। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? और कोई क्वेश्चन हो? No. So okay, I will stop the sharing. I'll stop the sharing and then I will close the lecture. This lecture will be uploaded as we said on YouTube, और उसका link जैसे ही available होता है, maybe in few hours I will upload that on Piazza. By the way, Piazza separately भी available है, आप उसकी वेबसाइट पे जा सकते हैं और हमारे LMS के साथ इंटीग्रेटेड भी है। तो if you go to LMS में नीचे on the left मेन्यू के अंदर जो है आपको नजर आ जाएगा कि Piazza site, और that it will allow you to go to that Piazza site. Okay, great, thank you very much and see you on Thursday.